Yo, what's going on guys? Sparkz or Matt here, and I have a tutorial on styles now. Styles, I'm pretty much just making buttons. Not many people have been, I haven't really seen many videos on it. I've seen people releasing kind of templates and stuff, but not really a tutorial, so I'm just pretty much just gonna explain to you guys what it is. Oh, well, how to do it from scratch, pretty much. So what I have here, let's just zoom in a little. Three buttons. They're actually quite big. I don't know why I did it big, but anyway. So one's kind of like this indented look, as you can see here, and these two are kind of more of buttons you can use on images, photos, and etc. etc. This one's kind of something that I kind of took off Evan Ekid. So shout out to him. If you guys don't know who he is, I'll put the channel link in the description of this video. But anyways, this is kind of his kind of style of buttons, or in some of his backgrounds that I've seen. And this one is kind of something, I don't know, it looked nice when I was kind of randomly playing around. So these two are kind of similar, but yeah, I'm just going to teach you how you guys can make all three of them. So anyways, we'll just start. Damn Skype messages. Anyways, alright, so let's just actually start from scratch. These are just examples. So what I'm going to do is just create a new project. See, this is the original kind of size of that canvas, so I might actually make it something smaller, maybe 500 by 150, so same ratio. Okay, so I think we're in 100% at the moment. So okay, so I create a new layer, and we're gonna do pretty much button one. Okay, so let's start this. It's gonna be something inverted, and let's say you make kind of like a bar, so you your menu bar on your YouTube background or whatever it is that you're making. So rasterize that layer. With the back, I tend to kind of have some sort of depth to it, so I'll put on a gradient overlay. And if you guys don't know where that is, styles is pretty much just here. FX, you just click that and you can go to gradient overlay. Click that. I usually put the scale all the way to 150, and let's just make change the blend mode to overlay, and maybe opacity to about, how's 20%? Okay, maybe 25. Okay, 25%. So we'll just do that. And now that's your menu. Okay. Now we're gonna create a button. You guys can choose, anything pretty much, but I usually go with a rounded rectangle tool and with a radius of 2 pixels, and just gonna create the button. So however big you want it. So let's make it this big. All right, so that'll do. Rasterize that layer as well. I just get annoyed by those edging lines, so rasterize layer, and as you can see, it kind of looks like it sticks out already. So anyways, we're just going to make it stick out even more by going, this is pretty much all going to be styles in here. So let's go to gradient overlay, and we want it indented. So and let's say the light comes from above, so that means pretty much with these styles and the indenting, you need to know where your light source is, and usually I'd go for above because it's easier and I feel more comfortable doing it. So anyways, you guys just follow me. If you're gonna have the light coming from underneath, I'd probably say do your gradient overlays, and pretty much I'm gonna do drop shadows as well. Just do it the opposite way. So anyway, I'm gonna reverse this and reduce the opacity. Oh, actually I might overlay and reduce the opacity to about maybe 40%. 40% will do. And then it kind of sticks out already. Not a lot, but we can improve on this. So let's go back to the effects. We can double click on the effects as a shortcut, or we can go back to here and just click on one. So I'm just going to double click on the effects, and let's go. How about we go drop shadow? Now this is kind of a trick. Usually, as you can think, if you think about it, drop shadows, you'd think of shadow, right? So anyway, you can use drop shadow in a different way, which is kind of cool. So apply it, and we'll change the distance to maybe 1, and the styles to 0. So usually the distance I choose 1 to 2, and size I always change to 0. So anyways, let's make the angle 90 degrees. As you can see, that shadow comes down. But the thing is, we're trying to aim for something inverted. So what we're going to do is actually we're going to change the black to white. And this will kind of highlight the edging of the inverted thing. So not inverted, the indented. My bad. So let's just reduce the opacity. Not that much. Maybe we'll make it 70. Yeah, I think 70 would do. So you don't want to make it too white. And okay, so we got that, and now we're actually going to make it look more indented. So you can do whichever one you want first. It's not actually going to make a difference, but there you go. You go highlight, change that white to black on the inner glow, and whoa, there you go. It's a bit too much. I might change the opacity to 40 maybe 50. Yeah, 50 will do. And okay, so we kind of have our first button. There we go. Zoom in, pixelated. So that's about the size we got there. We can add the text, so pretty much do whatever. I'm using Helvetica font now, so let's just change it to button. Change it to white. Reduce the size. I was actually about to ask you guys if I was going too fast, then I realized like this isn't live or anything, so it's kind of awkward. So anyways, we have the button there. We can change the style of the text itself as well. So another gradient overlay, scale 150. Let's make the opacity 40%, and pretty much we're making kind of this illusion. So as we did before, drop shadow, and because we use the gradient as we want it to look like it's sticking out instead of inverted. So instead of using white, we'll use black, which is what it has now. Change the size to 0. Change the distance to 1 or 2, depending on which one looks better. Let's go with 1. Change the opacity to maybe 30%. Or maybe 40%. Yeah. And if you think about it, if you put something on, on a surface, and there is light shining on it, usually it'll create a shadow, like a soft shadow around the whole object as well. So we'll make that as well. So highlight, black, and change the blend mode maybe from highlight to soft light, and reduce the opacity as well to maybe 40%, 50%, maybe 30%. Yeah, 30% will look good. And there we go. We got our first button. So kind of our first button. Hope you guys really like that. Hopefully that went well for you guys. Feel free to kind of like, if you're not getting something or if I'm going too fast, always pause the video. You can do it yourself while listening to me, or you can watch through all of it and do it yourself. And if you did miss a piece, go back to the video and watch it again. So that's our first button. So let's just create that into a group, and we'll move it up. Okay. Alright guys, so anyways, I had to take like a little break after that long kind of tutorial. It's been like, I think 8 minutes or so. And it is kind of like 1 AM in the morning as I'm recording this, so a little bit tired. But anyway, let's continue on to part 2. So this will be button 2. Here we go, button 2. As you can see, that kind of pinkish fadeaway, and as you can see, the button framework right there, so the outline is still there. So this is the style we're going to kind of try and do. So what we're going to have to do at the start is actually have a photograph to have a background with. So as I've already started getting that kind of stocks ready. Actually, let's not do stocks. Let's find textures. Here we go. Let's go into preview. Let's find another kind of, let's see, which one do I have here? I can use, let's go all the way up. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Let's use this. Should be big enough to use. Okay. Oh yes. Let's just create that rectangular kind of menu again. or you can use it as your background, so it really doesn't matter. So we're going to rasterize that. Doesn't really matter what color it is. And I'm going to create a clipping mask, so that'll be the clipping mask there. I might make that rectangle a little bit bigger. If you guys don't know what a clipping mask does, just follow this, and I might create another, like I'll leave that kind of tutorial for later. But yeah, just kind of follow what I'm doing with the clipping mask. You just create clipping mask on that, and make sure that image is above the rectangle or whatever shape you're doing. So anyway, let's start. So we're going to create another kind of rectangular tool. We can either use that or the rounded rectangular tool, so I'm just going to go with the round one because I really do like it. And the trick with this one is what we're going to do is we're going to create two of them. So let's rasterize that first. Man, it's annoying. Create it again. So I'm going to do is click and drag and let go on this kind of folded piece of paper there. So that'll create another copied layer. And what I'm going to do is go with the one on top, so the copy. And I'm going to go styles, and I'm going to go to stroke. Create a 1 pixel stroke and change the color to white. And now that'll create that kind of framework there that we had before. And what I'm going to do is outer glow and create that shadow. So we'll create a nice kind of balanced shadow there. And click OK. Let's maybe change the opacity to maybe 80%. I want that a little bit darker. And change the size to maybe 8. Ooh, too much. Alright, maybe we'll keep it as 5. And click OK. So we're going to have that. And we don't have that kind of color yet. And the thing is, you can't change the opacity, otherwise it'll change the opacity of the whole thing. So what I do is I right click on that, the same layer, and we're going to go rasterize layer style. So that'll pretty much just mold all your styles together and just make it into one layer. And okay, as we have this is kind of like one image now, so you can't change the layer styles anymore. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click the magic wand tool, and I'm going to click inside. So I'm going to choose the inside, the solid part, and make sure you're still on that top layer. So click that, and this will select that kind of gray image area because it's the automatic kind of selection tool. So it'll pick any kind of similar color as a selection, and I'm actually going to delete that part. So click delete or backspace, and it should delete that part. As you can't really see any difference at the moment, but actually what it did is it removed that middle part, which means I only have this second layer at the back supporting that kind of thing. And as you can see, that kind of creates like a button already. It's like a transparent kind of thing, but what I want to do is create extra stuff, which is I'm going to change the color. So maybe we'll have a color. What you have to do is select that kind of rectangle tool, the one at the bottom, and we'll go color overlay, so another style, and choose whatever color. So I tend to go with a kind of reddish pink, maybe a little bit more red. There we go. So kind of like a hot pink. So click OK. And what I'm going to do now is create a mask layer. So click this kind of rectangle with the circle inside, which is next to the styles button, and it should have come with that. What I'm going to do now is with masks, it's so simple. Like if I simply explain it, if I paint inside the mask with black, what will happen is it'll actually remove the part of the layer which the mask is on. So if I change the brush to maybe we'll change the brush to, say, this circle thing, and we'll change it to maybe 40 pixels, 49 pixels, and look, if I color it around, it kind of deletes the layer. And the cool thing is I can delete that layer and it'll come back to me. So anyway, we'll create that layer again, and instead of using a brush, you can use a gradient tool instead. So make sure it's black and white again, and using the gradient tool, we can hold shift and click and hold, so from the top to the bottom. So we can either do it that way or we can do the other way. So we'll start from the bottom to the top, which I tend to like, and maybe you just keep trying until you see something you kind of like. So I think maybe that'll do. Yep. And there we go. Okay, it's a bit, hold on, very picky with this kind of stuff. Sorry guys. There There we go. Something like that. And we'll create the text over it, so make sure you're in the top layer. And let's go button. Let's type in button. Select all of the text, change that to white text. And one more thing I'd like to add in is, let me move it to there and create another style. Instead of using, a gradient overlay or anything, we just do a simple drop shadow, and we'll just change the distance to 1, size to 0, angle still at 90, and let's change that. Okay, maybe we'll make the distance 2. There we go. Change the opacity maybe down to like 40. It's not as harsh, so it looks good. This is something that, as I explained before, Evan Eckert tends to use on his backgrounds. Of course, not all of them, but on some of them you'll see something similar to this. So anyways, that is the second button. So I'm just going to create that into a group, and I'll get back to you in a few minutes, guys. Alrighty guys, so I am back for the last time to make the third button. So let's just have a look. So that's the third button. You can change the color, and it's pretty much the same thing as the first button, and actually quite easier because you don't have to do all that masking and stuff. So what we're gonna do now is, actually I'm just gonna go through the whole thing again if you guys don't mind. I could pretty much, if you guys made the first one, you can pretty much just copy and paste, like just duplicate the layer and change the inside of it. But what I'm going to do is just going to go create that again. So let's just have a look. Let's do that. To rasterize that layer, I'm just going to do this quickly. So create a new layer, create that style, create a stroke of 1, color white. Make sure the opacity is 100%, and we'll go outer glow, change it to hard light black, and we'll keep everything as is. Maybe change that to 80%, so 80% opacity, or something like that. Yep, that sounds kind of looks right. Right click on that, rasterize layer style, magic wand tool, click that, backspace or delete. Then have a look at the second layer, and this is where there's a difference. So we can change the color overlay. We'll change that to maybe change it to green. Let's have a look. That kind of green. So let's have a look. Too green. Alright, too green. Let's change it to something maybe. Ooh, too much. So something maybe a lime. There we go. So something like a lime green, and you can pretty much just choose whatever. Like you can choose, so make that kind of polygon lasso tool, is it? Yeah, polygon lasso tool, and you select wherever really. You delete that. You just have a part hanging over there, or if you don't want to, let's just go back to history. Go back to clear. Choose something different. Maybe we'll go something like that. There we go. Kind of looks like the start, and we'll just do exactly the same thing as we did before. So just create text, type in button, or pretty much whatever you want. You can type in subscribe, website, whatever you want, depending on what you're using it for. And let's just center it, and then style, drop shadow, like I always seem to do. Distance is 2, size 0. We'll change the opacity to maybe. Okay, so the difference between this one and the second one is pretty much there's more, like you can pretty much just see the background. So depending on if it's a light or a dark background, you can change the opacity to whatever. So at the moment it's kind of like dark, bright. So I'm going to change the opacity to something a bit more darker, so maybe 60% instead of. So that'll do, and that's it. Of course, you guys can make your own changes. Don't forget, like, you don't have to copy this exactly. You can always, maybe you can change the shape of this. It doesn't have to be like this triangular edging. You can pretty much just do whatever you want. Feel free to just play around. That's how I got to do this. and that's how I ended up figuring out how to do this kind of stuff. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry the tutorial was a bit long, but I tried to explain the stuff. So anyways, don't forget to follow Yaush, or subscribe to me, and also follow my Twitter, which is @SparkzLight. So that's going to be at the description below as well. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this and hoped it helped a lot. I'll see you guys later. Peace.